Dobar dan svima još jednom. Vreme je za sljedeću prezentaciju pod nazivom Transport voća i povrća.
Now we will talk about the transport of fruits and vegetable trends and challenges. Stevica Carapic will be our speaker, who is regional managing director from Serbia, Montenegro. Ljiljana Lukic and Goran Popovic will be our next speakers. You have the floor. Good afternoon, dear guests. Thank you for your time and thank you for joining us in our presentations. I'm really glad that our cooperation has been developing and expanding, and I do hope that we are able to meet your expectations and demands through our structures that MSA provide for its clients in order to meet the desires of our customers. Our colleagues, Ljiljana Lukic and colleague from Montenegro, Goran Popovic, technical support, I will ask them to repeat the presentations, maybe to add something which may be important and useful for our future cooperation. Thank you.
Dobar dan.
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in such a big number. It's really a pleasure to see so many of you present today. My name is Ljiljana Lukic. I'm a specialist for sale, and it's my honor to be in a position on behalf of my company to give you some details about MSC for all of you who are not familiar with our company. I will give you some figures regarding the company, investments and our services, and our focus will be on technical support. That Goran will be our star speaker. I'm sure that all of you have already heard about MSC, but I will tell you that this is our family company, established in 1917 by Gianluigi Ponto, our captain, and 50 years later we become a world leader in transport containers, and we have become #1 company in this service. We have a large number of clients all over the world, and thanks to all of you, our dear clients, we helped us to become a family company #1 worldwide. What is also important to mention is that despite all turbulences, MSC is the only private shipping company. What is the key to our success? Definitely passion of our friend and of all of our Italian friends and founder, but all of us. MSC Group doesn't focus only on these containers. We have a pretty complex background. Transport, our partners are Teal, Medlog, and since 2020 we have realized that we have to expand our activities to air cargo. We have 5 cargo airplanes in our fleet, and we also have the most luxurious cruisers, most modern all over the world. You can find more details on social media and on our official website. And now I'll give you some figures. It's important to mention them. They are pretty big. Over 200,000 employees, including transport and passenger divisions. So it's no surprising that we've been #1. We become #1. Over 22 million passengers we transport all over the world. We have more than 300 services, and we have 5 cargo aircrafts. Here you can see that we cover all tourist and trade centers all over the world. What is important to mention for Serbia and the regional countries, the fact that we have a direct lines from Italian and Adriatic coast to the USA, Canada, Middle East, and Far East. We also enable door-to-door transport solutions for our clients, integrating various kinds of transport, not only containers, shipping containers, but also we are in a position to offer transport by trucks, rail, or combined transport, barges. Also, we can provide custom services and insurance. We have our own insurance department. The reason of our gathering here is the transport of fruit and vegetables. So I will focus on reefer containers. It's a special transportation unit for temperature-controlled gifts and commodities, meat, fish, pharmas, vegetables, fruits, and similar items. Our fleet consists of 24 and 24 reefer containers. We have 20 stop reefer containers. In terms of payload, we can meet the expectations of our clients. Now I will give the floor to my colleague Goran Popovic, and I will say something more after him.
Dobar dan, drago mi je ste došli.
Good afternoon. I will try to give you some technical specifications of our reefer containers for your goods. I will give you some basic details, and I'm available for all your questions. If you need additional explanation.
Kao prvo, osnovne podaci reefera.
Reefers are the transportation units for transport of goods from -30 to +30 temperature. Ventilation spans from 0 to 285 cubic diameters. Air renewal, reducing. Air renewal and reducing CO2. They're also equipped for dehumidification. They have aluminum T-floor in order to enable smooth air circulation throughout the inside of the reefer. Before stuffing, my company is in charge of check technical correctness, technicalities, the technical details, and to provide good temperature monitoring. We are also in charge of checking electronic devices, Frigo systems, to check possible visual damages if all if the drain system is blocked or not, if it is in function according to your instructions. Adjustment of other parameters is also our job. We can check them on our display. temperature, humidity, and ventilation. So we set these parameters in advance before staffing. You can see this display, and we can set all functions of the reefers on them. You can change that, but for example, if it is set on +1 and you need +2, so you can change this display temperature until it's in a required temperature regime. The rest is not advisable to mess with this device. So according to your instructions, we set all parameters in advance, or to provide the best possible conditions for the frozen stuff. On the left screen, you can see the temperature you required. On the right-hand side, you can see the temperature, the current temperature in the reefer. In the container, you have these flashes. That flashes supply shows the temperature, and then you can change the temperature pressing the button return. A return temperature is the current temperature of the goods container, the real temperature of the goods while it is in the container. And other indicator lamps show compressor, showing cool, defrost, to defrost the evaporator in order not to have ice block. Then we can see the lamp for heater, for draining the extra water after defrostation, etc. For example, if we have a +1 default temperature and the display shows +3 degrees, it means that the reefer has reached the required temperature. When you see the heat or the frost on this display, it means that the temperature could be +10 or 12 degrees, but it's not a sign for alarm, because at the moment we have a lamp in beige, which means that the good is on the temperature you required. This is another type of container with a bit different container, so-called Daikin container, different disposition of these buttons and indications which we should follow. During the stuffing of goods to the container, we have to pay attention to air circulation and smooth airflow. And it is also important to pay attention to this red line, which is from the 10 to 15 centimeters from the top of the container, so you cannot stuff the goods. It is not allowed after that red line, because you will block the airflow. Also, what you could not or must not do while stuffing or the load is causing turbulences. So the cargo must be pre-cooled to the requested temperature, and we will say something more about that later on. And we have a warm air which goes through the cooler. It is intake, and then we have an air circle sometimes it is requested to have cargo pre-cooled before the stuffing, which is a mistake. It can be done if you have a cold chain. If container goes into a cold channel in a cold store, otherwise there is no. If you don't have this cold tunnel, we will have condensation. As soon as you open the container door, you will see the condensation, which can cause a problem for the goods inside a container. We have ice, which can damage the goods. If you do not have the so-called cold chain or cold tunnel, don't do that. Especially if you have outside minus temperatures, wet cargo plus defrost process can be problematic if you block the air circulation.
O skladištenju robe u
Regarding the stuffing of the goods, as you can see on these photos, don't allow this empty space. It is essential to avoid the air taking the shortest route. If you don't have enough goods in the container, you have to provide air bags to fill in this empty space. Cover the floor of the container completely, especially in the front part and in the rear part next to the door. So the front part then could be cooled, and those stuffed in the rear part can remain on the room temperature because these goods are very sensitive to change of temperature, and it requires special attention in plus temperature regimes. We do not tolerate many degrees differences if the temperature excursions are significant, then the goods may be damaged. And you can see on this slide what we transport: ice cream -25, meat -20, and frozen food -18. Then plus regime, it is more demanding, like apples, bananas, +2 centigrades, 13 centigrades, wine, etc., etc. As I mentioned before, these goods in plus temperature require particular attention and particular setting of all required parameters. This kind of goods should be carefully stored. You should pay particular attention to the set temperature, whether the humidation is required depending on the producer, whether we have to change to provide the air renewal, because if we have a big difference between the inside and outside temperature, the goods may prematurely mature before the time, and then so packaging must be able to resist even moisture. If we have more outside air, the maturing process starts and goes on faster. This frozen food is stored or stuffed in a temperature from -3 to -30. And it must not be in blocks, or packaging must be able to resist the moisture in order to prevent creation of ice and damaging of the food. The goods must be packed in a specific packaging material. Ventilation of the container must always remain closed and humidity off. These are the ventilation holes, as you can see here, for fresh air exchange conversion. You have this air vent. When it is closed, depending, we have a different kind of settings of these parameters depending on the type of the container. For example, this vent can be open for the 15 degrees, but for a different kind of container, air vent open is, for example, 15%, etc. As you can see on this, by air circulation, we can also change other CO2 and other gases. So we let fresh air in the container, and the CO2 and other harmful gases are let out. Then our units are equipped with a dehumidification system to reduce humidity, which is especially good for garlic, onions, for flour, bulb, in order to prevent maturing before time. These were some technical details regarding the container. If you have any questions to ask, or you would like to hear first some special treatments we can offer, it is so-called cold treatment as well as controlled environment. Cold treatment is a chemical free way to eliminate fruit flies and other insects that might damage agricultural industry, and the process itself includes decrease of temperature until a certain level and maintaining the same temperature during the journey, but at the end of the process, temperature goes back to the preset parameters and it is monitored until the final destination. Speaking about the controlled atmosphere, it is the process of regulation of gases during the transport in order to prevent maturing of fruits until the final destination, because it extends the life shelf and it can compete with air transport given the container's characteristics, capacities, and weight, and the goods can be transported to far distances because it will maintain the same conditions like in cold store of our producers. Our expert team is also always available. The main team is headquartered in Landthorpe, and they can provide monitoring 24 hours per day in case of any breakdown. We have an alarm system which immediately alarms the ports of calls. Our equipment is one of the youngest. Our reefers are 7 years old on average, and we really take much care of today's topic, that's environmental protection. That would be all for brief presentation. You can approach us if you have additional questions. Our team members are also available 24 hours a day please be free to contact us, and I would like to invite us to our stand at 216 for drink and to meet those who we haven't met before. There is always room for cooperation in the future. Thank you.
If you feel free, if there are any questions for Goran regarding the characteristics, or for me regarding the sales, more info about company, we are at your disposal. Microphone, please. I haven't heard the question. I apologize. So what is so specific about us? So there are certain types of goods and trends that make some companies more competitive, whether it is a price or customer service that we in MSC Belgrade are proud of. And in all of our MSC agencies, so the human factor is important. So your phone call will be answered no matter what time you call, and we'll try to find a solution. So no matter what our working hours are, we are here for you. This is a two-way street, so we need you as you need us. If you have any questions regarding the reefer, I can explain. I'm not much of a speaker, but I know a lot of technical details. So if you want to hear that, please ask me a question. The question for Ljiljana, I'm from COP company, regarding the atmosphere and containers. Does it exist in the bar? I forgot to mention that in my presentation. I would like to mention that in case of controlled atmosphere, it's important to say that MSC Serbia have already started working on that. So maybe Stevica can confirm that, but we hope for the new season to start with the blueberries and some other items. We were ready even last year, and we talked about that option. With regard to that, we talked to the Croatian and Serbian customs administration, because it's important when the container is closed with a plastic curtain, it should not be open. So we received the approvals from both customers, but the season was over and the weather conditions were not good. But if everything is okay, we can start with this year. The containers are available. Goran is here to do the supervision, and without that we cannot process it further. So we will follow the container until the Rijeka, and everything is under control. Ljiljana communicates with the heads of our units in Geneva, and they are informed about the potential of the markets. And if the weather conditions are good, if the quality of the crops is good, we are here. So what separates us from the competitors? Well, it is our commitment to our clients, not only of the local staff, but our management from Geneva. So the managers from Geneva were here at the meetings with us, so they were coming in the past 2 years there. So none of the shippers have been doing that. So next week, our colleagues from Geneva will visit us in Serbia. And we also have massive investments in new technologies and container fleet. In the past, until 15 years ago, we were not so famous about our quality of equipment, but thanks to our great investments and recognition of potential in certain segments, we came to the fact that the average maturity of our fleet is 7 years.